Good evening. Thank you for being here and welcome to the Waltos Theater here at the Jay and Susie Googe Performing Arts Center. My name is Christopher Hecox and I have the pleasure of serving as the executive director here. I'm thrilled to be able to host the mayor's address again here at the Googe Center. It's one of those annual events that we really are thrilled to be able to have here and have all of the community here online and in person as well. Before I introduce Mayor Anders, I'd really like to thank everyone at the City of Auburn, the mayor, the city council, all the employees and everybody for their continued and unwavering support of the Googe Center here at Auburn University. As you may have seen, we are coming in. We have a little bit of construction going on the south side of the building with the Ham Amphitheater and our Studio Theater project. And the City of Auburn is one of our great partners in the work that we do here. So thank you to everyone at the city. Thank you to the City Council, Mayor Anders, and everybody. Yes. Please give them a round of applause. So thank you again for attending this evening. Without further ado, Mayor Ron Anders. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I appreciate everybody taking time to be here today. I know that there are illnesses going around in our community, so thank you if you've made an extra effort to be here. And we're very proud and excited to talk to you about the city that you live in. Good evening, Auburn, and thank you for being here tonight. And thanks to Auburn University for letting us use this beautiful facility. It really feels like home for this event. I can't believe this is already my 6th State of the City address. And I'm proud to say that once again, I have exciting things to share about our community. Thank you all for being so involved and engaged. That you're sitting here this evening at the Jay and Susie Googe Performing Arts Center, or even watching and listening on social media or WANI radio shows your dedication to our community. So does the way you contribute to our local economy and quality of life through the work you do each day as employees, business owners, and entrepreneurs. You volunteer with local nonprofits and on city boards and commissions. You support and celebrate our schools and the academic and athletic successes of our children. You live, work, worship, build, and build community in this place we call home. Your passion for Auburn makes it easy to love. Thank you also to our public servants who are here tonight. We have with us members of the City Council, the Board of Education, Planning Commission, and Waterworks Board, as well as local state legislators and staff from our federal delegation. Your hard work on behalf of your community does not go unnoticed. And thank you to the leaders at Auburn University that are joining us tonight. We cherish the collaborative relationships we maintain with you year after year. I've learned a lot about how you feel about Auburn this year and about what makes you think Auburn is unique. As part of our branding initiative, we heard from over 2,000 of you through focus groups and a community survey. We wanted to know your stories and why you call Auburn home. Whether you're new to the family, have been here your whole life, or left and returned because you found Auburn too hard to leave. To describe Auburn, you use words like safe and vibrant, growing, education, and even love. You described our greatest assets as our local schools and Auburn University, our independent food scene, our sense of faith and family, our public services, and our small town feel. You told us what's fundamental to our identity, from Toomer's Corner to Sanford Hall, from trees and green spaces and parks to our great traditions. You said we were a changing and a growing town, but you still felt safe and it was family friendly. A college town, but also so much more. You identified some challenges, maintaining our small town feel and our traditions, as well as our infrastructure and services as we grow. We'll be asking you for more input soon as 2025 brings our 36th citizen survey. If you receive a survey next year, I encourage you to fill it out and tell us what you think. The results will inform our city services and projects, not to mention our next budget. We will go into that budget process confident that Auburn has long been recognized as an institution with a strong financial core. In late September, S&P Global Ratings and Moody's Investment Services affirmed the City of Auburn's high bond ratings, of AA plus and AA2. What does that mean for you? These ratings signal that our local economy is strong. They allow us to make your tax dollars go further by getting lower interest rates when we borrow money for projects like the Lake Wilmore Community Center and the upcoming Boykin-Donahue campus project. In September, the Auburn City Council approved our fiscal year 2025 budget. Our revenue sources, with sales tax as the largest revenue generator, have seen growth across the board thanks to our healthy economy. Every new business, every home football game, and every local event helps fund our city, as does your dedication to supporting Auburn businesses. When you shop locally, you invest in the businesses that employ your friends and neighbors and who give back by supporting local nonprofits in our children's activities and youth teams. Shopping in Auburn also helps maintain the city services and infrastructure you use and depend on every day, much more than when you shop online. Thank you to local businesses and to everyone who shops local for what you do to support our economy and city services. In the past year, we put your tax dollars to work to improve the infrastructure throughout town and tackle some exciting projects. At the end of last year, we celebrated the expansion of the Wire Road Soccer Complex, which hosts thousands of Auburn children every year. The expansion included a 56,000 square foot indoor facility and the addition of 3 outdoor turf fields, 1 new practice field, new restroom facilities, expanded parking, pedestrian trails, and picnic shelters. The new building houses a multi-purpose court lined for futsal, basketball, and volleyball. This facility has already been used for tournaments and community-wide events like Daddy-Daughter Date Night. The soccer complex is also now the voting place for Ward 8. In March, we celebrated again, this time with our local arts community, as renovations to the Jan Dempsey Community Arts Center wrapped up. An 8,000 square foot addition was constructed and includes our first dedicated dance studio, a patio for outdoor art programs and events, and a ceramic studio. Renovations to the existing building added improved gallery spaces, exhibition space along the main hallway, ADA improvements, and added dressing rooms to the theater performance space. The additions and renovations to Jan Dempsey reconfigured and maximized the space for Auburn's arts programs. The center is where our art community has gathered since 1999 and where meaningful partnerships flourish, like those the city has with the Auburn Area Community Theater, the Auburn Area Orchestra, and the Auburn Arts Association. We also built a new home for our environmental services and public works departments, which work every day to maintain our streets, collect our garbage, trash, and recycling, clean up after storms, and maintain the city's vehicles and equipment. The new facility off Wire Road is already proven to be a great location to handle events like Household Hazardous Waste Day. And this past year, we took the first step towards a new training complex for our public safety services. We built a drill tower, an area for new recruits and career firefighters to train. A classroom component is nearing completion, and forthcoming will be a burn building, a draft pit, and a search and rescue maze simulator. The completed center will be an incredible public safety training resource locally and regionally and will help our first responders be ready for anything. The Public Safety Training Center is the site of the old rest stop on 280 and now will also serve as a new voting location for Ward 3. Our recent survey told us that one of the things you loved about Auburn was feeling safe. We won't take that for granted as we grow, with planning underway for a South Auburn Police Precinct and other public safety facilities to ensure our city continues to provide excellent police and fire response times. Along with safety, maintaining and improving our roadways is always a top priority. Martin Luther King Drive is now easier to navigate and more walkable. One of the major gateways into our city, MLK, received new pedestrian lighting, landscaping, medians, and a 10-foot wide multi-use path from Shugdern Parkway to Donahue Drive. We're hopeful that our public investments on MLK Drive will spur private investment to bring more amenities to this area. We've made improvements along East University Drive at its intersections with Annaloo and Sagahatchee Road. North and southbound left turn lanes were added on EUD, and new signal poles went in at the Annaloo intersection. A new median only allows right-in, right-out turns at Sagahatchee Road to decrease the number of accidents. Open its doors soon is our newest community asset, the Lake Wilmore Community Center, located off Ogletree Road. This center will help meet our growing recreational needs in big ways as it brings 2 full-size basketball courts, an indoor walking track, 18 covered pickleball courts, 4 multi-purpose athletic fields, and a pool that has 2 zones, a lap pool and a zero entry area ideal for water aerobics. The pool will be heated and covered to promote year-round use. There will also be a fitness room, activity and multi-use rooms, indoor concessions, and a conference room. Lake Wilmore will also be the new voting location for Ward 7. If you've driven down Shelton Mill Road lately, you may notice work starting on our new passive park, Ann Pearson Park, named in honor of an Auburn native and historian. It will include trails, a pavilion, and a play area on about 40 acres of land. This park will be an asset to residents in this area and is possible because of our strong relationship with the Auburn University Real Estate Foundation that was granted this land from the Pearson estate, as well as the generosity of a private benefactor. Just a couple of months ago, the Auburn City Council approved a construction contract for what we call the Boykin Donahue Campus Project. This project will replace the former Environmental Services and Public Works buildings on North Donahue Drive with a new branch of the Auburn Public Library, a splash pad, a playfield, and a cultural center. The Cultural Center will be built as a replica of a Rosenwald school to showcase the rich history of Auburn's African American community. And across Donahue from where it sits today will be a new and improved recycling center. Nearby, we'll be constructing a half-mile sidewalk on the east side of Byrd Street to provide connectivity to the recently completed multi-use path on Martin Luther King Drive. In downtown, improvements to Toomer Street will include a sidewalk, street trees, and decorative pedestrian lights along the west side. And on Gay Street, we will replace the sidewalk and add pedestrian lighting and landscaping from Publix to Thatch Avenue. We're increasing our investment in city streets, spending up to $6 million on resurfacing and restriping throughout Auburn. A citywide scoring process conducted every few years informs our dynamic 5-year resurfacing plan so that we're continually maintaining and improving our local roads. We are committed to improving major corridors in the city, like Opelika Road. Thousands travel this road every day, and there's still work to do. Improvements are coming soon to the intersection of Opelika Road and Dean Road, including the widening of Opelika Road in this area. Connections will be made east and west of the intersection for bicycles, pedestrian lighting, and street lights. On North Dean Road, it's about to get a whole lot easier to make a left turn onto University Drive. Work has begun on adding dual left turn lanes to both sides of North Dean and longer right turn lanes on all 4 sides of the intersection. Lee County has taken the lead to design and construct a roundabout at Moores Mill Road and Society Hill Road, and the city will contribute $500,000 towards this project. The roundabout will greatly benefit Auburn residents commuting from Moores Mill and Society Hill Roads, and we expect construction to start before next fall. These projects will undoubtedly cause some temporary inconveniences for many of us, including myself, as we move around town. Please be patient and keep in mind the decades of benefits that a few weeks or months of inconvenience will bring. And please remember to subscribe to our e-notifier and social media to keep track where construction is taking place that may affect your daily commute. Each year I like to share some numbers that show off the magnitude of work the city staff accomplishes. As I run through these stats, keep in mind that you are at the heart of all of these numbers. From our most popular annual events right down to daily sewer line inspections, work both big and small goes into making Auburn such a great place to live for all of you. One of my favorite things to talk about is the stunning amount of work of our Environmental Services Department that they do to keep our community clean. Over the last year, they made 1.7 million stops to collect the garbage, trash, and recycling we all put by the curb each week. Our animal control team responded to more than 2,500 calls for help and returned more than 145 animals to their homes. The city's fleet of 870 vehicles and equipment traveled more than 3 million miles last year. Our Public Works Department was hard at work too, maintaining over 729 miles of roadway, 154 miles of storm and sewer easements, 185 miles of sidewalk, and 655 miles of curb and gutter. That maintenance included 131 pothole repairs and over 100 sidewalk patches. They kept our streets clean by collecting over 9,000 bags of litter, and they maintained more than 2,600 acres of right-of-way along our roads. They inspected 4,100 trees on city property and planted 200 new trees. With more than 23,000 customers using 8.3 million gallons of water per day, Water Resource Management treated 3.3 billion gallons of wastewater and cleaned 238 miles of sewer lines. Our watershed division took 2,700 water quality samples to ensure that our local waterways are always stable and protected. Nearly 10,500 people enrolled in our Parks and Rec programs last year, and thousands more attended special events like City Fest, Downtown Trick or Treat, and Daddy-Daughter Date Night. Participation in our athletic programs were up across the board, with a 30% increase in flag football, 17% increase in volleyball, 14% increase in basketball, and 9% increase in baseball and softball. League play at the Yarborough Tennis Center has grown 21% over the last year, and we had nearly 9,500 players participate in tournaments and league championships, a 185% increase since last year. As we continue to build and maintain top-tier athletic facilities, we're able to host more tournaments, which brings in visitors and spending that grow our local economy. So far in 2024, we've hosted more than 59 athletic events, and we only expect that number to continue to grow. The Auburn Public Libraries continue to see increases in circulation with a 29% increase over the last 5 years. Last year, patrons checked out more than 612,000 books, audiobooks, movies, and ebooks. Program participation was also up, with more than 31,000 people attending events like Weekly Storytime. Inspection Services performed more than 23,000 building inspections over the last year and issued 1,600 building permits, with over 700 of those building permits being for single-family homes. On top of managing a slew of construction projects, Engineering Services maintained 644 pedestrian lights and 74 signalized intersections. Our planning department is at the forefront of requests related to development. Over the last year, they've handled 13 rezonings and approved 59 subdivisions. They've processed over 580 acres of annexations, and they've recorded 592 lots, totaling 961 acres. Community Services supported more than 900 seniors and 700 youth through the city's community development block grant funded programs. Those funds also helped rehab 7 houses and construct 4 new affordable homes in the new Tucker Heights subdivision. The department helped distribute over 64,000 pounds of food each month through the Boykin Community Center Food Pantry and provided more than 1,100 families and individuals with housing assistance. The Auburn Police Department worked around the clock to keep us safe, performing over 118,000 security checks and working more than 18,000 hours of extra duty. Our fire department responded to more than 7,600 calls, a record number for the department, which included 4,600 medical calls and 212 fires. Our firefighters put in more than 8,000 hours of training and conducted 1,800 life safety inspections at local businesses, schools, and apartment complexes. Our emergency communications were there when you needed them the most, processing over 200,000 calls for service. Our economic development team continues to be a leading force behind our industrial growth in our region. Over the last year, they announced 7 company expansions and 3 new manufacturers coming to Auburn, bringing 350 new jobs and over $185 million in capital investment. With continued growth, the department is thinking ahead to provide space for companies that want to call Auburn home. The Industrial Development Board of the City of Auburn purchased land that will help enable development for the next 10 plus years as we receive $2.7 million from the state to support infrastructure that will help us bring approximately 190 acres online for the future. Our workforce development team continues to support our existing companies, assisting in connecting more than 1,000 people with jobs in our local industries. On top of this, work began on a business center at the Auburn Center for Developing Industries that will provide space for business innovation and training to support local startups and industry partners. This business center was made possible in large part through funding secured by Representative Mike Rogers. Our federal delegation has assisted Auburn in many ways in recent years, including water infrastructure funding from Representative Rogers and Senator Katie Britt, funding for I-85 traffic monitoring and signage improvements from Representative Rogers, and public safety equipment from Senator Britt and Senator Tommy Tuberville. We thank them for their steadfast support of our community and the tireless work that they do for Auburn and all of Alabama. The shining light of our community has long been the education you receive in Auburn, from K to PhD. Auburn City Schools continues to carry the torch in 2024, maintaining its place as one of the top 3 school systems in Alabama. Auburn Schools welcome 9,429 students and over 1,100 employees each morning. More than 20 school resource officers walk the halls of our schools with at least one assigned to each, forming essential relationships with both students and teachers. Auburn Schools graduated 707 seniors in 2024 who together received more than $26 million in scholarship offers. While we know a college education opens many doors, it's not the only pathway to success. Almost 2,000 Auburn students enrolled in career technical courses and earned 429 industry certifications. These skills will allow them to be more successful day one on the job. It's also of personal importance to me to recognize the quality of our local private schools and their place in our community. And I'm proud that we can offer some of the best public education in our state alongside excellent private educational options. I'm confident that Auburn's reputation as the city to raise a family in Alabama will only grow stronger. Our partnerships are what ensure our community will thrive into the future. We've always had a great relationship with Auburn University, and it's only getting stronger. Students make up an important portion of our city's population, and while they come here to get an education and find a career, many of them end up finding their home here as well. I meet regularly with the Student Government Association, and they report to the council at each council meeting. Multiple city departments coordinate regularly with members of Auburn University staff on issues of mutual interest. Our communicators keep each other informed on city news important to campus and vice versa. And I'm thankful for a great working relationship with President Chris Roberts and for his involvement in our community. For the past 40 years, Auburn University presidents and leaders have had a place on our Industrial Development Board, giving the university a seat at the table to help guide our industrial recruitment strategies. The fruits of that collaboration are evident in the billions of dollars invested in our community and thousands of jobs created over the decades. This year, we began working even closer with Auburn University, aligning the city's economic development recruiting efforts with the university's mission as a premier research institution. At the core of this partnership between the IDB and the Auburn Research and Technology Foundation is the desire to make Auburn a first-class destination for knowledge-based jobs. Our economic development team can now help the university recruit targeted industries to set up shop at the park, previously known as the Research Park, which is also home to the Auburn Medical Pavilion. We're looking at emerging fields that will help shape the future of not just our state, but the world. Fields such as aerospace, cybersecurity, life sciences, software, and more. By working together, we can ensure Auburn is not just a place where enduring high-paying jobs are available, but where the next new technology, the next breakthrough, or the next cure will be found. And along the way, every job we help create in the park is a job created in Auburn. Another key partnership we have with the university is public safety. With one of our former assistant police chiefs, Dr. Clarence Stewart, at the helm of Auburn's campus safety and security team, the coordination between Auburn University and our public safety department has only grown. I can assure you that none of us at the city, from myself and the city manager to our sworn officers and firefighters, take lightly the fact that tens of thousands of parents trust us with their children's safety. We're fortunate to welcome almost 90,000 fans to Jordan-Hare Stadium on a home football game day Saturday, along with the fans who come to Auburn to enjoy the atmosphere of game days without even thinking about entering the stadium. It's an honor to welcome visitors to our community, and it's our responsibility to keep them safe while they're here. Your safety will continue to be paramount. Of course, we cannot talk about partnerships with Auburn University without mentioning this beautiful facility we're in tonight. When you arrived this evening, you may have noticed the construction outside. We're excited to be partnering with the Googe to bring about a reimagined outdoor space that will include an enclosed studio theater, a new outdoor stage, and a build-out of the Bill and Carol Ham Amphitheater at the City of Auburn Lawn and Porch that will accommodate events for over 3,000 attendees. This addition will provide space for the Googe to bring even more shows, more musicians, and other performers to our community. Outside of the university, we continue to forge strong partnerships with key organizations that make Auburn the amazing place it is, including Auburn Opelika Tourism and the Auburn Chamber of Commerce. So far this year, the Chamber has hosted over 76 ribbon cuttings, a great reflection of the thriving atmosphere our community offers small businesses. Auburn Opelika Tourism has assisted with 101 events in Auburn this year that brought more than 35,000 visitors who shopped, dined, and stayed at our hotels right here in our community. Those events run the gamut from cycling competitions and baseball tournaments to conferences and other special events. And of course, the greatest partnership we have is with you, the Auburn residents. The Auburn we know today is thanks to our community's previous generations. It's thanks to people who gave their time and talents, rolling up their sleeves to do the work that needed to be done to build a better community. Earlier this year, we relaunched Auburn 2040, a community-driven visioning and planning process. Focus groups have met over the last several months to look to the future in areas like education, growth and development, family and community engagement, transportation, intergovernmental, and utilities technology environment. I would like to thank all who have given their time and effort to this process. Auburn 2000 and Auburn 2020 both provided a vision that Auburn leaders referenced over the years, and I'm confident that Auburn 2040 will have the same place in planning Auburn's future. We're almost finished updating the city's comprehensive plan. Updated on a regular basis, the comprehensive plan guides us in managing growth and land use. It also sets the city's optimal boundary limits to guide zoning and annexation. The city's planning team is finalizing this year's update, and it will go before the Planning Commission and the City Council very soon. These plans help us create clear goals that help guide Auburn's growth and help us create the Auburn we want to see in 2040 and beyond. Each year I have the privilege of reporting on the state of the city, and I want to thank you all again for being here tonight. Now, I would like to share with you some people who have gone above and beyond to help make Auburn a thriving community. Each year at this time, I recognize individuals from our community with the Mayor's Lamplighter Awards. The Lamplighter comes from the story of Robert Louis Stevenson, the famous author. As a child, Robert Louis Stevenson would be upstairs in his bedroom, and his mom noticed he would not go to bed each night. He would stand at the window and continue to look outside. So one night she continued to ask Robert, "What are you looking at?" And he said, "Mom, I'm looking at the lamplighter." And one night she went upstairs and sat behind him and watched him. And the community's lamplighter quietly, methodically, with complete dedication, went through and lit all the lamps in their sidewalks in their community to provide safety. She said, "Robert, why are you so fascinated? He's just lighting the lamps." And he said, "No, Mom, he's punching holes in the darkness." Over the next few minutes, I'm going to recognize 6 individuals from our city who, on all of our behalf, the whole community's behalf, punch holes in the darkness to make Auburn a wonderful and special place to live. As I call your name, I ask you to please come forward. Please go to this side of the stage. There'll be someone there to direct you onto the stage. Rachel will present your lamp to you, and then we'd ask that you stay here in the chairs until we conclude the program tonight. Family and friends, they'll be available for pictures afterwards out in the lobby. What do we do when we are attempting to find something that is lost? Best practices have taught us that retracing your steps, checking all possible locations, you need to be patient and stay calm. What do we do if what we are pursuing is right there in front of us? And that is not a thing that might have fallen from our coat pocket, but an individual, a person who is alive but maybe not doing well, one whose health could be satisfactory but whose soul is nowhere to be found. On a college campus, a hive of activity occurs in fraternity houses. A lot of guys on a single piece of real estate with moderate supervision. Plenty of good experiences, good friends, parties with elevated noise, service projects participated in by great guys, but within their ranks are constantly young men who are headed in the wrong direction. For over 40 years, our first lamplighter has pursued the lost on college campuses. The last 25 plus years right here in Auburn. His methods are old school. They're methodical. They're intentional. He builds constant and consistent relationships. There are no boxes that he checks, no data to produce, no glitz and no glamour, just grinded out forging of personal connection. These investments of personal time lead to trusted meetings where reality meets hope. He has changed the trajectory of lives of college men his entire career. Listen to the descriptions of some of his efforts. The way he keeps up with you is simply amazing. He equips people by doing life with them. He is very relatable. He is in a relationship with you for the long haul. He gives his complete attention to you, and he's great at developing leadership. This lamplighter starts his day in deep prayer and Bible study, sometimes walking through Auburn's ancient cemetery at Pine Hill. This is the foundation he builds on for every day of his life. And during each day, you are likely to hear an outburst of laughter just as often as a word of prayer. He loves his moments with friends where stories are followed by laughs, all represented of a trusting, caring relationship. His influence through his ministry is not his only example of his methodical, committed journey. Trials within his world have not been absent, but through these trials, his team and his friends and his supporters have seen his strength. It's his faithfulness, his role as a steady anchor, his spiritual foundation, his humble demeanor, and his ability to laugh. All of this has impacted legions of people over the last 40 years. A good friend said it well, that if you had to title his life story, it would be A Long Obedience in the Same Direction. What a compliment. Our first lamplighter is Mr. Bill Bolt. The story of what makes Auburn a special community cannot be told without the full understanding of the importance of our local nonprofits. These organizations do heavy lifting that government or the private sector can't do. They provide services and opportunities that simply would not exist without their organizations. But to have a successful nonprofit, you need committed volunteers, resources that are developed, and a passionate leader. Any of Auburn's best managed, purposeful charities have a leader that resonates with our entire community. a leader that inspires effort among its board and its volunteers. Tonight's second lamplighter has made it happen for Auburn's children and their families for over 10 years now. She has taught children the values of listening, empathy, teamwork, and collaboration. These children learn commitment and dedication and hard work. And as you might expect, she doesn't seek accolades, just humbly serving Auburn's families. As Children's Theater Director for the Auburn Area Community Theater, she has made a palatable difference over the last decade, using every resource available, finding a purpose for every volunteer, and challenging every performer to give their best. She has made our local theater a successful organization. Along the way, lives are being altered, such as the story of a young lady who tried everything in our community but was cast in a show at 11 years old, and now she is all in. She has found her friends and found her passion, and her mom says this is what she wants to follow in her college. There's a story of a young man with special needs who worked behind the scenes for many productions, but this fall was given an extra effort, an extra job at the 100 and Dalmatians production. He took on a bigger responsibility with lighting. He's using all of these experiences, all of this encouragement, all of this confidence to move forward to attend Auburn next year. And there are stories and stories of the many children who were once timid and shy, maybe even introverts, who bloomed to sing, dance, and act during these performances. She is so committed to her role that she is actually going back to college to earn a theater degree, all the more to be prepared, more educated to lead the children's theater. She is a mom and a wife. She's also a passionate community volunteer and a dynamic leader of an outstanding organization. She's also a hungry leader who wants to know more, but she's a humble servant who wants our children to be exposed to the arts and all of its life's lessons. Auburn, it sounds like we got more than we bargained for. Thank goodness. Our next lamplighter, Miss Melanie Brown. Who is the sweetest person you have ever met? A person whose smile, kind word moved your spirit. We all seek those who will carry our hurt and cheer for our joy. They truly care more about our lives and offer whatever support we need. Our next lamplighter spent over 25 years in the typing business, mostly providing first-class productions for students at Auburn University to submit to their professors. Her heart led her work. She wanted her students to receive the best grade possible. One local community leader recalled an incident when maybe his work was substandard. Our next lamplighter asked him, "Is this your best work?" After admitting it wasn't, he agreed with her assessment. He took his paper back and returned with his best work. This is just an example, not of a transaction for services rendered, but a caring provider, sweetly encouraging her customers to do their very best. Technology changed her vocation, and this led to a new sector of our community receiving her generosity. For the last 11 years, she has devoted her time as the director of the Senior Center at the Boykin Community Center. Her love for people never changing, just now a little older with different needs. She came up with new programs and new games and new partnerships, all to make the experiences of the participants more abundant and more rich. She spent hours upon hours planning and thinking of what she could do to bring joy to those seniors. Her fellow staff says she was always offering suggestions to make the center a special place. At church, it's the same. She's involved with children's Sunday school. She weeps for those that are hurting. She assists those with health setbacks. Her pastor says she's an excellent speaker and an excellent teacher, and she is always available. Part of her life was typing papers for young people, and part of her life has been providing activities for citizens in their golden years. She has served her church in multiple roles. All of this foundation is her faith, and what emanates from her soul is a spirit sweeter than honey. Young people, old people, all people, it doesn't matter. If you're nearby, you will be sweeter once you meet her. Our next lamplighter is Miss Johnny Dowdell. Auburn High School is one of the largest, if not the largest school in our state. Everything that occurs, everything that is considered is larger than any other school. Auburn High can't make decisions without thoroughly evaluating the resources needed and the outcomes that are produced. And that certainly includes the Auburn High School athletic programs. Remember, we're not just talking about senior high level, but all the way to 7th grade. All total, there are 1,200 roster spots for Auburn Tiger teams. Yes, it's literally herding cats. Helped walk through the door in 2013, a mom looking to get her children involved in school sports made a statement that changed the course of Auburn's athletic programs. I'll volunteer if you need help. It started with ticket sales, then random gaps that needed filling during events, and this led to her pursuit of a brand new position, assistant athletic director. Our next lamplighter has worked for 2 different athletic directors. As they described her task, it sounded much like a bowl of gumbo, a big mixture of roles that when all thrown together creates a demanding job performed by a dedicated servant. I referenced the ticket sales. How many games are there? How many matches? How many home meets? Eligibility needs. Is this young person academically qualified? Did they just move in? Did all their classes from their former school transfer? Do we have their correct address? Is this a bona fide move done by a certain date? She answers all the phone calls in the office and all the events she helps oversee. Do we have this? Do we have that? Who's doing that? Who's doing this? Are we taking cash? Are we taking credit card? Who's taking care of the referees, the officials, the PA, the scoreboard in the park, and it goes on and on. The days sometimes last until 9 p.m., and most of the time begin before 8. And this doesn't include weekends. And she gets it done. Why? Listen to the description from her peers. She is a good person. She has a good heart. She cares about what she does. She is faithful. She goes above and beyond. She is honest. She knows how to solve problems, and she considers everyone. Auburn High Athletics is a powerhouse operation. Top coaches in their field call AHS home. Each season, a state championship is the goal. Our students have a lifetime experience playing for the Tigers, wearing the Auburn High blue jersey. This is undergirded by the lady behind the scenes, the accidental assistant athletic director, the person who her 2 bosses could not have done or do their job without. She gets the work done so that the coaches and players can focus on their goals. A faithful servant to her God, her family, and to Auburn's student athletes. The next lamplighter is Miss Jennifer Ferguson. What is influence? The ability to alter how an individual thinks or acts by persuasion, not necessarily authority. Positive relationships built by trust and action and behaviors will create influence. Our next lamplighter has had, by all forms of measurement, a successful career at Auburn University. His academic and professional recognitions are extensive. He has represented Auburn literally all over the world. The Christian author and minister Max Lucado said this: "A man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back to the crowd." For 23 years, our next lamplighter has led and taught music and directed choral classes and activities at Auburn. By focusing on not the audience behind him, but the students in front of him, he has provided a powerful influence to hundreds, if not thousands, of Auburn University students. Listen to their testimonies. He is very intentional. He cares for his students. He sees a greater purpose in his work. He is very professional, and he knows how to relate to the younger generation. Here's another one. There are not many people as talented as he is, not just musically, but as a leader. He has personal relationships with everyone he teaches. He gets the best out of his students. I look up to him not only as a professor, but as a husband and a dad. His colleagues will speak to his selfless service. Even though he works a busy schedule, he's always there to lend a hand for the department when asked. He is a person they can count on. He sees his opportunity to serve his community and provide experience for his students by volunteering the gifts of the choirs to the events and organizations that need their assistance. And he works with students that are not just from the traditional Auburn University background, but he also instructs students from Auburn's Eagles program, which provides an Auburn experience to all students. Here's an email I received from one of his good friends. Many believe there is nothing more influential in a student's life than the power of a quiet example. His everyday behavior includes the virtues of hard work and self-discipline, courage, perseverance, responsibility, friendship, loyalty, honesty, compassion, and faith. As a result, students value his office open-door policy for conversation and advice. Alumni visit regularly and leave with a renewed personal and professional encouragement. In all aspects of his life, he exudes these same virtues. His family, his friends, his neighbors, and his fellow Sunday school members know him as a humble soul. Sunday school members notice him wearing a safety vest as he slips into class quietly while serving as a parking lot attendant, and then he leaves quietly before class to be ready for the next shift. Teaching is what he might be most recognized for, and maybe now it's a parking lot attendant too. Tonight we say thanks for the heart that empowers those classrooms, the heart that pours into his students, his peers, his family, and his community. A man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back to the crowd. Those he faces receive a lifetime of blessing through his common influence. Our next lamplighter is Dr. William Powell. What you don't sweat out when you're young will turn into tears when you're old. That's a Japanese proverb. Our next lamplighter is an Auburn business owner, a longtime business owner, who learned the value of hard work at a very early age. This habit of hard work has led to a family business that today sits in a new building and serves not only its customers, but its employees in our community. The restaurant industry is one of the greatest risks that any entrepreneur can invest in. 60% don't make it a year. 80% don't make it after 5 years. It takes a good business plan, good employees, good food, good service, and lots of hard work. In 1990, our final lamplighter opened Country's Barbecue on Opelika Road. Previous to this, he had worked in a restaurant as a teenager. With support from an investor and the sweat off his brow, he took the ultimate business risk and opened a new food establishment. A young man in his 20s, he was a new father, opening a new business, and he took a big risk, but he had the secret weapon, his work ethic. He understood the effort of his parents. He learned from their example. They were Depression-era children. They worked in cotton mills in Columbus, Georgia, many times 7 days a week. When not working 7 days a week, his dad operated a lawn maintenance business. He saw firsthand every day the efforts of his parents to provide for their family. They instilled those values in their family, a family of 6 children: responsibility, hard work, respect, and helping others. They didn't have much, but in reality, they had everything. They were rich with love and dedication and wisdom. And their youngest child learned those lessons, has those values, and he works his tail off. Failure was never a consideration. He outworked it. With those foundations comes opportunities, relationships, and friendships. One good friend mentioned his loyalty and his outstanding business savvy and his hard work. Another friend admired the courage he took to take that first step to open that business as a young man. A 25-year employee says, "He changed my life. He gave me a chance, first to wash dishes, then to do even more when I wasn't sure I could do more. He encouraged me, he taught me, and he believed in me." And finally, hear the words of his son. Having spent almost 25 years working with my father, I have learned an absolute ton of things about working hard and being a kind man. My father is a kind man and an employer who would take the shirt off his back to help someone, and especially his employees over the years. And I can't overstate his helping hand for his employees when they need it. He sacrificed a lot of his time to make Country's Barbecue what it is today, something I didn't recognize when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I realize how much time and hard work it takes. His donations of food and money for the community resonated with me as a kid, from him telling me not only was Country's a place for us to make a living, but to give back as much as we can to our community. Because we want to help the community out when we can and try to leave it a better place when we leave this earth. His actions for his employees and vendors and community over the last 25 years have set a template for me to carry on his legacy. I can only hope I'm half the man my father is when I'm his age. I couldn't have asked for a better example of a father. What he learned from his parents, he passed on to his children. Country's Barbecue, 34 years of hard work and good food. Now in a new building, a true Auburn legacy. No tears, all sweat. Our final lamplighter, Mr. Larry Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to please stand and give a round of applause to these lamplighters here. Auburn's a great community, and the 6 of you are a big reason why Auburn's a great community, so thank you for everything you do on behalf of all of us. I remind all the families that they will be out in the lobby very soon to take all the pictures, if you'll please wait for that. I want to say thank you to our staff at the city. A lot of people went into making this night possible, and I appreciate everybody that participated. I certainly appreciate Cynthia and Allison and their help with me each and every year to make sure I get up here and get all this straightened out. Y'all are great, and all the other staff. Thank you, Megan, for allowing this for helping make this happen. We're very grateful for that. And Rachel, thank you for your participation each and every year. As I always say, Auburn's not a perfect town, but it's a really good town. I hope you find your place to serve and make Auburn special. We've got a bright, bright future. God bless you and have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for being here.